In this video, we're looking at debugging MemoryMatch here. So this student's got an issue of when it runs, it will throw this exception like we saw in another video, but you'll notice that there's something different about this exception. This one's starting from C:\\, and that's the first thing that I noticed. It wasn't actually pointing to the location of where you thought it would be pointing to. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. So the first thing I did was go to the XAML and look and see that it is in fact pointing to MemoryMatch semicolon component like you'd expect. And so the next thing I noticed when I saw that was that there was not nearly as much right here as there is in our project. So that led me to check the project specifications. So up here, project, look at the properties, and in looking at this, first I was looking at the default icon, but as I came up here higher, I noticed that the target framework was set to .NET Core 3.1, and that is the entire problem with this application. So when this application was started, instead of choosing .NET Framework, .NET Core was chosen. So what we're going to do is convert it, and we're going to start with a fresh screen. So I'm going to leave this one just like it is, and I've got a actually, I guess I've got to start a new one. There we go. So we've got a new window up. We're going to go File, New, Project. And what we need is the WPF app with using the .NET Framework. And if we come down over here, you'll see how easy it is. They're right next to each other, right? But the .NET Framework is the one that needed to be chosen. So I'm going to hit Next. I'm going to keep it called MemoryMatch because we're going to copy the code, and if I name it something other than MemoryMatch, well, that causes problems in the code, and we'll have to make a lot of other changes. So I'm going to keep it called MemoryMatch. Point it out here to I'm just going to stick it into a folder so that I can call it what I want to call it. So it's going to be called MemoryMatch. That's just where I'm storing it on my desktop. I'll hit Create. Okay, so you'll notice right away the top of that XAML looks different. Looks like what we're used to. I'm going to come back to my folders here, long set of folders. I come back to my folders here, and I want to get all of my images. So all of those, that one. And I also want to get my WPF application.cs. So there I've just grabbed all of my images and that WPF application. I'm going to copy those, and then I'm putting my new one inside this other folder here. I'm going to paste all of those here, and I'm also going to go into the bin directory, debug directory, and I'm going to paste them in there just like we've done before. So that's just a quick way to make sure we've got all our files in the right spot for this new one that we're doing. Next, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do Show All Files. Once I've done Show All Files, I'm going to right-click on that bin directory, Include in Project. I'm going to come down here to WPF application.cs, right-click, Include in Project. So now I've got my main window.xaml, my .xaml.cs, and what I'm going to do is switch back and forth between the one that they started with and the one that it needs to be. So here is the XAML, and I'm gonna take just this one line, title, over to here. I'm just gonna copy that one line. And I'm gonna put that in our new one. Next, I'm gonna get everything inside of grid. So I'm not going to copy grid itself, I'm just going to start there. I'm going to get everything inside of grid and copy that and put it inside of grid here. And notice everything shows up pretty nice, but if I do a build, it's going to fail because I have nothing back here in the .cs. So let's come back here. Oops. So here's where we selected all the XAML. Here's the .cs. I am going to just collapse main window. Select that one. So right there, just expand collapse. I'm just going to select that one and Control C. I'm going to come back to my new one that we're creating. I'm going to collapse that main window once again, highlight it, Control V to paste. So now I've got everything there. I'm going to do a Control Shift B, see what happens. Let's see where we're at. Oh, I did a bad job of copying and pasting there. Bad job. Control Shift B. So, sorry I went quiet there for just a minute. Then debug. My problem was that I copied and pasted the WPF application.cs twice. Remember how I selected all of that and I selected the .cs? Well, instead of leaving the .cs out here, it got pasted in both places and that was causing an error. So my error was that if I include this back in the project out here and it's also right here, you'll see immediately that it's included twice and we can't have that. So let's come back to either way. What we've been doing is using the other one, so let's exclude that one from the project. Inside the bin folder, Control Shift B, build succeeded. Let's go ahead and start this and see what happens. It popped up on my other window, so I'll drag it across here. So it loaded and it's working, except you'll notice right there, no image. And those two are a match. So most likely if we scroll down through here, what we've got is a misnamed image. And we get down here to where all of the images are named, and then we bring up our folder with everything in it. We'll notice that one of them is actually a GIF, not a JPEG. And we'll change that one over to a .gif. Do a Control Shift B to build again. start it up again, and it will run just fine. It loaded on the other screen. Here it is. And we'd be able to go right through it. There's the Roadrunner that was missing before. So it will run just fine. So there again, we started off with a project that was incorrectly started using the .NET Core. It should have been using the .NET Framework. So I started over from scratch. Did a file new project using the .NET Framework. I copied all of our images over plus that .cs file that we were using. I incorrectly copied the .cs file in 2 locations, and I had to exclude one of them from the project for it to work correctly. And then it was just a matter of copying and pasting all of the code into the right spots in this new one in order to get it to work correctly. So hopefully that is helpful to anyone who is having the same problem.